Hmm. Hello, everybody. All right. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Sorry I'm a little bit late. Was taking care of some stuff, but I was also, freshening up a little bit right before the show. So I hope everybody's had a good weekend. I hope everybody caught the panel last night. We actually almost went 3 hours last night. So that was kind of interesting. We got going a little bit. Welcome back, an old friend. Batgoat joined us in the chat, so hope to see him again soon. Anyways, I'm gonna go off camera here for a quick moment while waiting for people to show up. So while I'm doing that, I'll put some music on and I'll be back. All right. Well, today is May 1st, so and we are gonna have some news stories coming up here. Let's see. As I said, we're just waiting for more people to show up here. All right. So, anyways, as I said, we're gonna wait a few minutes while we we're just gonna wait a few minutes while we wait for people to show up. Let's see. Anyways, let's check on in here. I gotta double check on something here real quick. right, looks like we're back now. And then we got a couple people. So as always, guys, of course, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that would really help. Hey, JR. Music is my let us hail and begin. Yeah, all right, Jay. Yeah, all right, Jay. You're right. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So what's on tap for tonight is well, I got three articles I'm gonna go over. Heroic Signatures is gonna explain why they decided to help publish the new Conan the Barbaric, Conan the Barbarian stories with Titan. Also, we're going to cover. Let's see. Um, the Vinland Saga anime director apologizes for season 2 cuts. Um, we're looking at that. And Bolivia's Ministry of a lot of people apologizing here because Bolivia's Ministry of Education is apologizing for after discovering that new textbook cover art was plagiarized from various anime. So, that's what we have on top for you. Of course, the wrestling wrap up as well. Um, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started then, as JR put it. All right, so here's the first article we're going to go over tonight. Heroic Signature's president explains why they chose to publish new Conan the Barbarian stories with Titan. Quote, "We don't want to be bound by any comics code," unquote. Wonder what that's all about. Considering the CCA kind of fell through back in 2011, but everybody just by that point had stopped using it. But let's just see what exactly they're going on about here. Article by John F. Trent, published April 28th, which was this past Friday. So, Heroic Signature's president, Frederick Malmberg, recently explained why he chose to make a deal with Titan Comics to publish new Conan the Barbarian stories despite receiving multiple requests from other publishers. In an interview with Andre Enherjar of Midnight's Edge, Malmberg first explained their plan was to self-publish new Conan the Barbarian and Savage Sword of Conan stories after Marvel Comics chose not to renew the license to continue publishing. He said, quote, "It sort of started leaking out that we were not going to be with Marvel for much longer, and we were approached by a number of publishers who then wanted to collaborate, co-publish, or take out a license. But at that point, we were already, quote, no, in smaller quotes, nope, we're not going to do another license. We'll do this ourselves. We want to be true to Robert E. Howard. We don't want to be bound by any comics code or anything like that." All right, so I guess I get, unquote. So I guess I get what he's saying there. In other words, he basically is saying he doesn't want the interference of any publisher getting in their way. They want to be true to what Robert Howard had intended for Conan to be, even if even if, let's say, today's woke crowd frowns down upon it. That's what I'm guessing. Titan Comics is what is woke of woke AF. Okay, they republished Sherlock Holmes with a young, strong white woman. Um, Turned out to be instantly better than everyone everywhere. uh, anyway, try this again here. Try this one more time here. All right, there we go. And so, for whatever reason, this is not seeming to work. All right, there we go. All right, so for whatever reason, that trick's not going to work tonight. Oh well. All right, so he continued, quote, so we very quickly ended up actually with Titan Comics. I know the owner and founder, Nick Landau, and his wife, Vivian, very well. When I ran the Tradition games in Sweden, Nick Landau and Titan distributors were the go-to distributor for all mainland Europe for sci-fi books and stuff. So we've known each other for a long time, unquote. Quote, and we had entered the year before into an agreement where we would be publishing new Conan novels, books, short stories, ebooks through Titan for the English language. And so it was actually a very quick discussion with them where we needed to sort out the financial details. But they really wanted to come in heavily on our publishing plans. So we made an agreement with them very quickly, unquote. He explained. Who turned out? Oh, anyways. Oh, I see what you. Okay. Later in the interview, Malmberg detailed that, quote, there will be more Conan published than in a long time, and hopefully people will buy it and solicit it from their comic book stores and support it, unquote. Quote, we're really listening to the fans, and I hope this will be a long and great creative run. I really do, unquote, he concluded. Titan Comics announced their deal with Heroic Signatures at the end of October 2022, where they revealed that a new ongoing Conan the Barbarian comic series would debut in July 2023 from writer Jim Zub, artist Roberto De La Torre, and colorist Jose Villarrubia. Not only did they announce quote, this will kick off a brand new, exhilarating series of comics of characters from across the Conan and wider Robert E. Howard mythos, unquote. At the time, they did not release any details about what the new comic story would be about, but Midnight's Edge spoke with writer Jim Zub about the series, where he provided some details about the new series. Conan the Barbarian #1 movie replica cover. Wonder if that's supposed to be Red Sonja right there. Jim Zub said, quote, "We're not doing serialized in the sense that we're going to have Conan at the start of his career and then just every single moment from his early days into every single moment of his prime into the king. We are going to move around quite a bit, but there's going to be kind of these bigger, broader kind of stories that we're going to tell," unquote. Quote, "Conan's life is a series of these kinds of cool, echoing patterns where things that happened to him in his younger days have an effect on him in his prime, and potentially have an effect on him later, as the king. So we wanted to kind of explore that stuff," unquote, he elaborated. From there, Zub discussed how the story arcs jump around in Conan's life. Quote, "The very first story is, I don't know, I don't even think we've named the story arc yet, so I'm going to keep that close to my chest. But the stuff that happens in the first story arc, self-contained. It's an adventure that you can read, enjoy from start to finish, but then the second story, even though we jump ahead a little bit in the timeline, there's connective tissue there plot wise, and the same thing will happen with our third story," unquote. So basically, they're still going to write more or less a linear story, but it's not going to be quite as micromanaged, I guess would be the it's you're gonna have the story play out in arcs, which sounds kind of interesting from a narrative standpoint. Quote, "That if you read the entire first year of Conan the Barbarian, the new series at Titan, you're going to get this really cool epic adventure, and it's all going to kind of round out and be really enjoyable from start to finish. And yet, you can also read kind of each arc on its own and not feel completely lost. There is a sort of nice demarcation point of, okay, a new adventure begins. If you've been reading along, you'll enjoy it. You'll know there you'll know these big kind of picture things um, that we're doing, but you're not going to be left out in the cold if you haven't been reading the entire series," unquote, he proclaimed. All right. Sounds interesting. Hmm. Zub would also be asked if there is a difference in restrictions under Titan and Marvel. He revealed that Marvel does indeed restrict the violence depicted in the Conan series. He explained, quote, "I don't think that the Marvel book was necessarily restrictive in the sense that Marvel's got their broader kind of expectation in terms of violence that you can put on the page. Titan's even looser in that way. It's much more like the classic Savage Sword. We've got violence in the book that I never would have been able to get away with at Marvel, right in the first issue, unquote. See, so that's probably what they were talking about, though, when they said not bound by anybody's comics code. Quote, the violence is intense. We're lopping off limbs. The women are absolutely stunning, unquote. He continued, quote, it's pretty classic kind of pulp fantasy in that way. There is big love and big violence and big everything. It is intense, unquote. The official description for Conan the Barbarian, number one, states, quote, years after the Battle of Venarium, a weary Conan returns to his homeland to seek rest and solitude. However, a mysterious scout rides in to warn the Cimmerians of an imminent threat on the march from the Pictish wilderness. Will Conan and his new ally be able to hold off this new horde of invaders? Let's see. The first issue will feature covers by Dan Panosian, Roberto De La Torre, um, Argerm, Patch Zurcher, Mike Mignola, and E.M. Gist. Other covers include a wraparound Hyborian age map, um, a Virgin Foil Conan movie replica, and a blank sketch cover. The first issue arrives in comic book stores on July 26, 2023. It will retail for $3.99. Do you plan on picking up this new Conan the Barbarian series? Sounds interesting. We got hit by cosmic rays. No need to hear, just no need to fear, just call for four. Fantastic Four. That's what the score. Fantastic Four. Alright, so we'll get on to the next story here then. Let's see. We're at 24 minutes already. Okay. Vinland Saga anime director Shuhei Yabuta apologizes after season 2 cuts original mangaka Yukimura Makoto's previously unseen backstory of Snake. Article by Nerdigans published back on Friday the 28th of April. It's an anime and manga article. So here we go. So the second season of Mappa's Vinland Saga has already provided itself a contender for many a best anime 2023 list. Fans were recently shocked to learn that despite mangaka Yukimura Makoto having fleshed out specifically for this season a newly penned backstory for one of Kettle Farm Guard Snake, one of the Kettle Farm Guard Snake, was unable to make the cut for the animated adaptation's second season. taking to his personal Twitter account on April 25th, so that would have been what, last Tuesday, I believe, to seek forgiveness from fans, director Shuhei Yabuta announced via DeepL, quote, I would like to apologize to all of you. I hope to create a short story that would delve deeper into the story and characters in addition to the main story of Season 2 production. One of my plans was to create an episode about the past of Snake, which was given to me by Mr. Yukimura, but I have decided to abandon this plan in order to give priority to the production of the main story. According to Yabuta, quote, although there were elements of the premise of this short story in both episodes 16 and 17 left in the main story, storyboards and settings were also ready. I was unable to make it happen this time due to my lack of ability. Quote, I know that some of you had been looking forward to this story since the information had already been released, he acknowledged. Quote, and I am very sorry for the outcome, unquote. Notably, a brief look into Snake's backstory is also shown in the manga's 90th chapter, in smaller quotes, the price of food. Let me see if we got any. Nope. As always, of course, guys, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and if I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Um, so, anyways, continue on here. Therein, Snake reveals that prior to meeting Kettle, he was nothing but a young man on the run from an unspecified bit of trouble. However, after finally crossing paths with Kettle, or at least someone who falsely claiming his identity, Snake is given a home, a purpose, and a future. With his apology made, Yabuta um, concluded his thread by assuring audiences that, quote, the entire staff will continue to make every effort to produce this volume, and we look forward to your continued support of Vinland Saga, unquote. On his own account, Makoto confirmed that he had indeed worked with Yabuta on the episode titled The Snake's Past, and likewise acknowledged that it was cut because the two had overestimated the current state of the anime's production team. Quote, that's right, unquote, wrote the mangaka. Quote, I, director Yabuta, and I had a talk with everyone, and we decided to do an old episode of Snake in the anime, unquote. Quote, I'm sorry, unquote, he added. Quote, I got ahead of myself and leaked a bit of information without not knowing what was going um, on in the animation production side. All right. They put on in there twice. That might have been a typo. The snake's past, Makoto further explained. Quote, this is an episode that I had planned to draw in the first place, but never realized it. After all, it is not easy to make it happen, unquote. Quote, the main story is really amazing, isn't it? Unquote. He then asked, quote, I can tell that everyone at the animation production team is working with all their might. Director Yabata, are you back home? Please don't strain yourself, unquote. However, rather than abandoning his plan for the snake's past altogether, Makoto ultimately revealed that he was still intent on someday sharing Snake's story. Quote, but, unquote, he exclaimed, in conclusion to his thoughts, quote, it might happen somewhere, somehow, as an outside story. So I'm sorry, but please don't tell me yet what kind of history Snake has, unquote. Oh boy. Ah. Inland Saga Season 2 is now airing exclusively on Netflix. Okay. There we go with that one. No need to fear this. Just call for 4. Fantastic Four. That's what the score. Fantastic Four. Reed Richards is elastic. Sue can fade from sight. Johnny's the Human Torch. The Thing just loves to fight. All for 4. Gonna try one more time here. I'm gonna go camera here real quick. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we're back now. Anyways. Alright, so here's let's see, where are we at on time, by the way? Oh, let's see. Where? Oh wow, we're already at 36 minutes, so we went quite a while there with those two stories. So start to wrap up soon here. All right, so Bolivia's Ministry of Education apologizes after discovering that new textbook cover art was plagiarized from various anime article by Nerdigans Inc. published last Friday in the anime section here. So, while cultural acceptance of anime and manga has been always a divisive issue in the U.S., the mediums have always been extremely popular and influential, so much so that Bolivia's Ministry of Education was recently caught plagiarizing a number of works for their latest textbooks. Oh boy. According to a recent set of social media posts, the ministry's textbook releases for the upcoming 2023-2024 school year are adorned with artwork that was suspiciously reminiscent of images produced for various slice of life anime productions. This apparent plagiarization, was first detailed earlier this month when a number of Bolivians began sharing incriminating photos of the ministry's missteps to social media. Sharing an image comparing the cover for Bolivia's learning text for a productive community high school 2023-24 level 3 and the key visual produced by A1 Pictures for their classic anime adaptation of Naoshi Arakawa's Your Lie in April. Um, Former content coordinator and historical archive manager for the RTP, Bolivia media outlet, Sayuri Loza, asserted via DeepL, quote, how rich is it to plagiarize? Oh boy. Uh, a follow-up post, Loza declared, quote, and there's more, unquote, and shared another side-by-side comparison, this time of the cover of for her country's Learning Text 2023 for Predictive Community High School Level 6, and a key visual for TMS Entertainment's 2016 animated adaptation, Michiko Takano Orange. Oh boy. Yeah, that could be a little problematic. Likewise, Facebook user Dane Storm found more than a passing similarity between the cover of Learning Tech 2023 for a productive community high school level 6 and the theatrical poster for Makoto Shinkai's Weathering with You. Quote, Weathering with You, but um, in brackets here, the Bolivian town of Rabore, unquote, wrote Storm. I think this is the otaku collection of the Ministry of Education, unquote. Storm also noticed Learning Text 2023 for Productive Community High School Level 5 featured four school children who were posed very similarly to a piece of key art from TMS Entertainment's 2019 adaptation of Natsuki Takaya's Fruit Basket. quote, and another book to the Otaku Collection Ministry of Education. She wrote. And per her post by Juan Galletes Martinez, the cover of Learning Tech 2023 for a productive community high school level 2 appears to have taken inspiration from one of Kyoto Animation's key visuals for the adaptation of Kakifli's K-On! In light of the covers surprisingly going viral, Bolivia's Minister of Education, Edgar Perry, ultimately admitted that the artwork for some of their textbooks had, in fact, been plagiarized. A few days after the plagiarized covers went viral, the Bolivian online news publication reported that the Minister of Education, Edgar Perry, admitted that the covers for quote unquote some textbooks distributed to students were plagiarized. Uh, quote, at this moment, the questioning goes out to the cover, unquote, Perry said to Bolivian news publication. All right, yeah, okay. Pagine Siete. Um, quote, we regret very much that this plagiarism has occurred. However, it is worth mentioning that the images have their authorship signed by the person, and it is that person who made the covers, unquote. So now they're trying to pass the buck to the artist who actually did it. Hmm. All right, so after stressing to Pagina Siete that he would not allow plagiarism, quote, by any of our officials, unquote, um, Perry announced that the Ministry of Education was, quote, taking knowledge of it, and immediately we have made the corresponding administrative actions against those responsible based on internal procedures, unquote. Quote, as a ministry, we work with different people responsible for each of the areas, unquote. He ultimately explained, um, quote, for this reason, administrative action will be taken and a procedure will be established to sanction those responsible. With this, we are going to set a precedent so that it does not happen again, unquote. Oh, there we go with that one. Alrighty then. So that's all the articles we're going to go over tonight. Wow. We went right up to the 45, or just about right up, well, a little past the 45-minute mark, but with those three stories, but that's cool. So now we're going to do the wrestling roundup a bit here. Of course, there is some, as always, there will be some WWE as well as AEW, WWE news and AEW news as we all right. So of course, the draft on Raw will be continuing tonight. as they'll flesh out more of the draft picks and all that. That will be happening tonight. Now the results of the draft don't go into effect till after this weekend's back. As I understand it, Backlash is this weekend. So let me um, just make sure of that. That Backlash is this Saturday in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So tonight's draft, as well as Friday SmackDown, will be will be will be the last shows before the. So the main event for Backlash this Saturday will be Brock Lesnar taking on Cody Rhodes. The Bloodline members of the Uso brothers and Solo Sikoa take on current WWE Tag Team Champions Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and of course Matt Riddle will be teaming with them. Austin Theory defends the United States title in a triple threat match against Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. Rhea Ripley defends the SmackDown Women's title against Zelina Vega. Seth Rollins will be taking on Omos. Damian Priest takes on Bad Bunny in a San Juan Street Fight. Bad Bunny is also hosting the show. And then for the Raw Women's title match, Bianca Belair taking on Io Sky. Now, chances are the women's titles are going to probably be changing hands because, as I understand it, at least the Raw Women's title might, because Bianca Belair has said to have been drafted to SmackDown. So she's drafted to SmackDown along with, of course, the Street Profits. So I'll probably have more on everything tomorrow after I've watched the WrestleMania video, the news from there. But that's what's going on in the WWE as they prepare for this weekend Backlash. And of course, they did just recently unveil a new world title belt that will be going to whatever show that Roman Reigns will not be drafted to. So they keep Roman Reigns on SmackDown, then Raw will be the home of the new championship. If Reigns goes to SmackDown, then it'll be the belt will be going to, or if he goes to Raw, then the new belt will be going to SmackDown. So anyways, AEW is also making AEW, of course, will be having their Dynamite event this Wednesday. And already, let's see what's already scheduled for Dynamite on this Wednesday. Actually, one other piece of news that was just recently announced as well. Apparently, they have decided to shut down Dark Elevation. Dark Elevation will probably not be seen on YouTube anymore, as I understand it. They had kind of a best of episode last week. I guess it was recently in it. I think part of the reason is that they may be looking to kind of shelve that and possibly another show due to the fact that they're going to be adding a show on Saturday night called Collision. So that's some other news coming out of. But for this Wednesday night, Chris Jericho may be joining in on some of the commentary, apparently. So let's see. Juice Robinson takes on Ricky Starks in a Tres de Mayo Trios Battle Royal. You have the current Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Lucha Brothers, as well as I guess there's going to be a trios battle, meaning that it'll be so The Lucha Brothers, the Ring of Honor champions, tag team champions, Lucha Brothers will be teaming with Triple A Mega Champion El Hijo del Vikingo to take on the Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian, to take on the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, take on the Dark Order, all three members of the Dark Order, Evil Uno, Alan Reynolds, and John Silver, and QTV of Aaron Solo, Powerhouse Hobbs, and QT Marshall will be involved in that battle royal, as well as the varsity athletes of Ari Daivari, Josh Woods, and Tony Nese. Saraya will be taking on Willow Nightingale. In an 8-man tag match, you have Adam Cole, Bandito, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong taking on members of the Jericho Appreciation Society, and of course, Angelo Parker, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, and Matt Menard. And then MJF and Sammy Guevara are scheduled to take on Darby Allin and Jack Perry. If Darby Allin, if MJF and Sammy Guevara win that match, the main event for Double or Nothing stands as is. It'll be Guevara taking on MJF. If Darby Allin and Jungle Boy Jack Perry can win the match, then the match becomes a fatal 4-way. This is due to the fact that MJF had interfered throughout the Pillars tournament to ensure that Sammy would win, hoping to get Sammy, the plan seems to have been to get Sammy to to just take the payday and just lay down for MJF to get an easy win. Anyways, I'm going to go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So, anyways, now with all that being done and said, I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping up here. The day is Monday, May 1st, 2023. So let's take a look back at this day in Neach history. History! Alright, so with all that, so first off, we're going to head back 30 years ago today. As on this date, 30 years ago today, as soon as I can find it. In Memphis, Brian Christopher defeated Jeff Jarrett for the USWA Southern title. So on this date, back in 1993, 30 years ago today, the late Brian Christopher defeated Jeff Jarrett for the USWA Southern Heavyweight title. With that, moving on to the next piece of Neach history here. As we move up to 2008, and on this date, back in 2008, the 10th issue of MySpace Dark Horse Presents the 10th issue of MySpace Dark Horse Presents was released digitally on this date in back in 2008. So 15 years ago today, the 10th issue of MySpace Dark Horse Presents was released on this date back in 2008. Anyways, Moving on to the last piece in each history, which was just 5 years ago today. As on this date, 5 years ago today, the Warner Brothers Animation, DC Animation, computer animated superhero comedy film Lego DC Superhero Girl Supervillain High was released digitally on this date back in 2018. So on this date, 5 years ago today, DC Superhero Girls Supervillain High was released digitally on this date 5 years ago today. All right, everybody. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Hope to see everybody back here tomorrow for more niche news coverage. Also, don't forget this Friday, I'll have RJ Carter on with me, and we'll be continuing our look back at books that went on sale October of 1999. We'll be looking at books that went on sale from Dell and Harvey Comics. So until then, I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye.